All right, what's going on, guys? It's Zero here. So basically, I wanted to talk to you guys today about Nightwolf's little mix-ups that he actually has. So with that being said, let's get started. All right, guys. So the first mix-up I'm going to talk about with Nightwolf is pretty much his overhead and his constant pokes. So basically, for people who don't know, this is a 50-50 situation, but there is a mix-up here that can be done. But not only that, the reason why I'm bringing this up is because Nightwolf has the same similarities as the Mk11 version of Johnny Cage, where Johnny Cage had access to an overhead, and the only way that that overhead would come out is that sometimes he would catch you off guard, or maybe he would put you in a 50-50 situation to confuse you, and as soon as he hits you with the overhead, now you're confused, and then he gets his combo. You see what I'm saying? And this creates a serious dilemma for the opponent. And then, you know, obviously you can get, you know, whatever type of combo that you want, or whatever the case may be. So this is the first mix-up, and yes, Nightwolf, he has a 50-50. It's just like Johnny Cage's back in Mk11. I was like, okay, so this character has constant overhead, so what can I do to pretty much get the opponent to get hit with my overhead? And I thought about it. I was like, wait a minute, Johnny Cage back in, even though I didn't main Johnny Cage, I mean Leatherface, I noticed that Johnny Cage, he had a overhead, but he did not have a low starter. And the same shit applies here with Nightwolf. So both of them have some similarities here, and that's exactly what Nightwolf's overhead, and the fact that he doesn't have a low starter, that's what that reminds me of. You understand what I'm saying? Is Johnny Cage's thing. So obviously, as a Nightwolf main, you do not want to constantly try to spam out an overhead and hope to God that it hits, because you're gonna get really predictable, right? So, you know, if they get hit with the poke, you can obviously grab them, and since Nightwolf has crushing blows on both of his throws, you can create a 50-50 situation with both of these throws and create a serious mix-up here to where the opponent is going to be stuck into a fucking blender, right? Not only that, if you get the hit advantage and they're disrespecting your hit advantage, obviously you can hit them and then get your combo and do whatever you're trying to do, or whatever the case may be, right? So this is pretty much Nightwolf's first mix-up. Now I'm going to talk about his other mix-ups. So with that being said, let's talk about the other ones. Alright, guys, so another mix-up that Nightwolf has is pretty much, this mix-up is pretty much universal. It applies to many different characters in the game as well. So this is pretty self-explanatory. Obviously, standing one into a throw. So if you do this, you can obviously get a throw into the opponent. If you get the hit advantage, you can standing one the shit out of them and then get the throw. And if they think that you are going to go for the throw, you understand what I'm saying? Like, what's going to happen is that you're going to commit to the full string, and then once you commit to the full string, the opponent is more than likely going to get hit, right? So they're over here trying to mash an uppercut, or they try to jump and then they get hit, and now they're put into a combo because they thought you wasn't going to do that. You see what I'm saying? They thought you was going to go for a throw. So I mean, that's pretty much universal for a lot of characters in the game. Pretty much a stagger into a throw. So with that being said, that's all I really had to say about this. It's pretty self-explanatory. So with that being said, let's talk about his last two mix-ups. Alright, guys, so another mix-up that Nightwolf has revolves around his 1-1-2 string, which ends in an overhead, right? So you already know where I'm about to go with this. You could possibly get a throw, and you could possibly get a poke. If you pay close attention to the last hit, it's kind of delayed a little bit, which allows Nightwolf to create a mind game to where he can get pokes out. And if you pay close attention, his low poke comes out almost at the same speed as his overhead. See what I'm saying? And he could possibly go for a throw if he predicts that you're going to respect a lot, and then he could pretty much crack your fucking chrome dome. Now keep in mind, I wouldn't necessarily say this is Nightwolf's best mix-up. I'm just throwing that out there, so just be aware of that, right? Not only that, his overhead has a flawless block gap in it, so be careful, right? So that's pretty much self-explanatory. If you pay close attention to the last hit, his low comes out at almost the same speed. So if the opponent thinks that, you know, you're going to go for the overhead, the first reaction of the opponent is to do what? They're going to stand the fuck up, and then they're going to get hit. And if they disrespect your hit advantage, that's when you put them into a combo. So they're sitting here and they're like, oh fuck. You see what I'm saying? I didn't time that correctly, but it is what it is. So like, they get hit, and then, you know, they're disrespecting, and then that shit happens. You see what I'm saying? So you have an option for going for a throw possibly, but you know, just make sure you're on point and make sure like you time this correctly, because you know, if you time it correctly, it comes out a lot faster. See what I'm saying? It comes out a lot faster. So that's all I really had to say about this mix-up here. I wouldn't necessarily say this is like Nightwolf's strongest mix-up, at least in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? But it's something. You understand what I'm saying? To kind of keep the opponent on their toes and keep them guessing and stuff like that. But with that being said, let's talk about Nightwolf's final mix-up. Alright guys, so now we're going to talk about Nightwolf's 3-1 2-string, right? Which actually has pushback and he's -2 on block, which is actually really good. So if the opponent was to jump in, they'll get hit with this. You see what I'm saying? And then that creates an anti-air situation to where he can get a combo and stuff like that. Same shit applies to his 1-1-2, right? And he's +1. So anyway, same shit applies with his 1-1-2 situation. As you can clearly see, the nigga's only -3, so he recovers a lot faster. And as you can clearly see, rinse and repeat. See what I'm saying? Because the low is starting to come out a lot faster compared to his 1-1-2 situation. And not only that, you don't even have to do that. If they respect you a lot and they think you're going to go for the overhead, that's when the throw happens. And not only that, if Nightwolf has his crushing blow for his throws, that creates a 50-50 situation that will ultimately lead into shit like this, right? So, you know, obviously, same shit applies, just like his 1-1-2 situation. So with that being said, there was one more mix-up that I forgot to tell you guys about. So with that being said, let's get started on that. Alright guys, so now we're going to talk about, you know, Nightwolf's final mix-up, because I forgot to tell you guys that he had another mix-up which revolves around his back 1-3 2-string. Now keep in mind, the other string that I forgot to tell you guys about, the last hit has a flawless block gap in it, so watch out. Same shit applies to this string right here. The last hit has a flawless block gap in it, so you're gonna have to be very careful. But with that being said, let's get started. So Nightwolf, if you just go for his back 1, he's -5, but the thing is that he recovers a lot faster. See how instant that was? See how like he has like a low that comes out? I feel like his throw comes out a lot faster than his low. So this creates a serious dilemma for the opponent and creates a serious mind game, right? Because like I said before, you can get opened up if you think he's gonna if you think he's gonna throw you, and then that puts you into a combo to where he could do whatever he wants to. Well, pretty much he could just do whatever he wants, right? So with that being said, I was gonna say that it is possible for him to go for an overhead. You understand what I'm saying? If they're so used to seeing you go for the low and they're constantly blocking low, because I mean technically the overhead comes out almost as the same speed as the low. You understand what I'm saying? Almost. I did say almost, right? So don't think for one second that you're gonna constantly get this overhead out every single time. I think the best way to get this overhead out is to kind of harass the opponent like Johnny Cage did back in MKX, and then hit that nigga with the overhead when they least suspect it. You see what I'm saying? But with that being said, this is all I really had to say about Nightwolf's mix-ups. I feel like this is how his mix-ups are, at least in my opinion. Some people may have a different opinion on it, but I just feel like this is how his mix-ups are, because if the opponent thinks that you're going to go for the low, crack your fucking head. And see what I'm saying? And now you just got opened up, and now you're going to be like, okay, so now I have to see if this nigga's going to do this again. And if they respect again, guess what? Rinse and repeat. You're going to get hit again, nigga. See what I'm saying? So that creates a serious dilemma towards the opponent. Not only that, it is possible to start up a overhead situation with this, but you don't want to keep going for like stagger strings, because that's pretty much what this is. See how quick that overhead came out? You see what I'm saying? Almost at the same speed as this low. Now, I was going to talk about this string in the video, but I'll have to get back to that on this one, because I still need to figure out what I could possibly do with this string, because it has pushback on it to where I can't even go for a stagger pretty much, because they see that I stop swinging, they can pretty much punish me, you know what I'm saying, or get a crushing blow on me. So I have to be careful in that regard. So anyway, with that being said, this is all I really had to say about Nightwolf's mix-ups. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Do you think his mix-ups are pretty good? Do you think his mix-ups are strong? I mean, what do you think? Because like I said, he could literally do this, get a throw on you, and if they respect a lot, you could possibly get an overhead out, because, you know, his overhead comes out almost at the same time as his low does. So yeah, with that being said, this is all I really had to say. Catch you guys in the next video.